So, hi everyone, my name is Rob Stanley. I'm Chief Marketing Officer for FeedbackWhiz, and today our special guest is Jared Orkin. Thanks, Jared, for coming over, and we really appreciate it.
It's great to be here, yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be great. We've got lots of information about Amazon and how to get started selling. So just to cover a little bit about Jared, so he actually has helped companies reach anywhere from 7 to 8 figures within their first year, which is amazing. And he's also runs the AMZInnovate conference in New York.
It's a great conference, just
Yeah.
putting it out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what I want to do is, before we jump into the whole Amazon world, I'd like to start before, pre-Amazon. Like how'd you get started going? Were you in e-commerce? Did you have a job? Where did you start before the whole Amazon thing?
Yeah, so thanks guys for having me. I flew in from LA this morning. And so it's great to be here, and I also run different meetup groups, and so I think this is actually really unique, and this is really cool, so it's great to have everyone here. Come up to me with questions or anything like that. I am absolutely not a guru. I don't sell courses. I don't do any of that, and so I will give you the most honest feedback possible and point you in the right direction if I don't know the answer. Amazon's a really difficult world, but happy to help you navigate it and give you any advice that I can. So where did I start before Amazon? So I've been selling on Amazon probably for five or six, maybe 7 years. I don't remember, 6, 7 years. And I remember when Zika was really big, Zika was huge, right? And so people were purchasing different Zika repellent products. And so basically purchased a mosquito repellent bracelet. And so when we got that in the mail, and I opened it, and I said, I can sell this. And so I was in advertising, and I still am in advertising. And so when I opened this Zika repellent bracelet, I just immediately, my mind was just going entrepreneur. And so I looked up using Alibaba, found mosquito repellent bracelets, made it leather, make it look cool. Sold it put it on Amazon, not knowing anything about Amazon, and it kind of just let Amazon do its thing. It didn't really do much with PPC. I didn't really do much in the beginning. This is like many years ago, so it was much easier then, less competition. So we started selling one a day, and we were making maybe $5 net, and started one a day, and 5, 10, 15, 20. And when Zika was huge, selling 100 a day in the summer, and I refused to believe it was a seasonal product, and of course it was. And so then it led me to try out new products. But that was my first product. It was a mosquito repellent bracelet. And working in advertising has helped me understand kind of brand positioning in a way, and understanding what's potentially going to work. And I may have even used PickFu in my first product, and because PickFu is super cool, because I really had no idea what I was doing. There was probably new sellers in here too. So you literally can just log onto PickFu and just throw up an image, and then 3 other images, and then you can have literally FBA buyers in certain categories like women 45 to 55 and vote on the image, but not just vote, they'll also answer why they like that one better. And so it's super, super important, because your main image is like your selling point. So there's nothing more important than that. And so that's how I started on Amazon.
Did you before Amazon, did you do eBay or anything else?
Yeah. No, I didn't do eBay. I never really got into eBay. I really focused on advertising and just focus on display advertising. That's really my background. I started working at AOL when I was much younger, and then transitioned out of that, and slowly transitioned into Amazon. And you just keep feeding the beast with Amazon.
So this question comes up a lot, and there's some people in the room that are new or want to start selling, and I think it's going to vary, but I'm going to ask you your opinion on this. How much do I need to get started selling on Amazon?
Yeah, that question comes up all the time, and I think you really don't. It depends on the category, the market you're going into, the product. Are you going to supplements where it's super competitive and you have to order 1,000 units to get started, or are you going into something a little bit less competitive? It's seasonal. So I think you really don't need more than 2 to 5K going into this business. You really shouldn't need more than that. And if you have a supplier telling you need 1,000 MOQ or 5,000, they're bullshitting you. And so you need to negotiate with them and just start super small on an order and and kind of, I hate saying fake it till you make it, but when you're dealing with Chinese suppliers, you can say you're a huge Amazon seller and blah blah blah, and so always use that angle and just really go at it with like the smallest MOQ possible, especially ordering from China. That's just one option. But,
yeah. No, I agree with that. And I mean, if somebody's doing it as a side hustle and they're just trying to get a first product going or something, couple $1,000s maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, they shouldn't need more than $5,000.
Yeah.
I think, depending, of course, on the landed cost of the product, the size of the product, the way Amazon stores it in their warehouse. Is it oversized? So it just depends on the product, but you really shouldn't need more than $5,000.
Yeah.
To get going, hopefully netting maybe $100 a day net, maybe. But
learn the process.
It's all about learning the process. I have a guy that I know who is really interested in Amazon, so he bought the cheapest product he could possibly buy. He bought tire pressure
gauges,
not a gauge, the caps that go on the cap of the. So you could go as cheap as 5-10 cents.
Yeah.
He's just learning the system.
Sure.
And he's going to kill me for telling that product. And so that's what he's doing. It's just to fail. He wants to fail, and so.
But it's a learning
exactly.
curve. So you talked about, I mean, we jumped kind of right into the products, but what about the whole process of finding that first product, like getting started, finding the product?
Raise your hand if you're an Amazon seller, if you're selling on Amazon now.
Currently selling. So probably about half the room, and we got over 50 people. So
keep your hand up if you're selling more than $100K a month.
Okay. Got, let's call it less than a dozen.
Okay.
Maybe half a dozen.
Okay. Basically, the idea of product selection is not the hardest thing to do. People procrastinate on their idea. I bet most of you who are not selling on Amazon already have an idea of a product. What I first did was I went into the order history of my friends and my family, and I just let me just see what you guys ordered. Let me see. I don't really use any tools. I don't use any tools at all for product selection. I use Google Trends. Google Trends is huge. Just typing in something, whether it's a microphone clip or something, and seeing the trends of where it's going on Google, because there's nothing more important than Google search history. And then based on that, you can kind of see other variations of the search term and go off of that and see what the competition is like. How many pages is Amazon showing your product at the bottom of the page? How many Amazon choice badges are there for the #1 keyword? What are the keywords? Do you want to even rank for the top keywords? For me, I actually love going into long tail keywords because I think that's the easiest way to get Amazon choice, which is what you want to get. And deciding on a product, you need to figure out, is this a seasonal product? Is this a product that has been going as a huge trend that's been going on for a while and dying out? So it's product selection is so I was saying it's not the hardest thing. The hardest thing is pressing the go button and paying the manufacturer. I bet a lot of people here have yet to get started paying the manufacturer and just getting the unit ordered because you're delaying it so long. And so that's the hardest part, is really just hitting the go button and just paying the manufacturer to begin with. It's by far. Product selection is not so difficult because you already have an idea of your head what you want, and talk to a company that can help you design it, or one of the companies here, I think like StarPad, but yeah.
So just so people are aware of Google Trends. So let's say I took Bluetooth wireless mic and I put it into Google Trends, and then I put Bluetooth wireless mic silver. It will tell you which of those keywords are trending more out in the Google search environment. And that's one way to kind of narrow down what people are searching, not necessarily on Amazon, but just in general.
Right.
So so just staying on the whole theme of still researching products and trying to find something. Alibaba.com, 1688.com. Feel free to write those down. Have you used any of those? What kind of experience have you had with those?
Yeah, I started on Alibaba, and then I realized that they're all just third parties. They're not the manufacturers. And then I moved to 1688, which in the beginning was more manufacturers. Now they're mainly third parties. Mm-hmm. And then I moved to having my own sourcing agent from a company and help me source products there. And then I ended up moving, and this is the kind of the journey a lot of people take, is finding a company that can help just create a brand new product. Because, the products that you copy only last for so long. So when you create your own unique idea to something very interesting, you obviously want to get a utility or a design patent, maybe design to start, and have them create it for you. This way, Amazon's gotten a lot stricter with takedowns lately. A ton of IP takedowns in the last couple weeks, especially leading up to the busiest couple weeks of the year for Amazon. So you want to have your own IP going into a product, and patent searching is so difficult for somebody who's not in that field. So that's why you can start with like a lookalike product, but you ultimately want to create your own product, and it's not even that expensive, and it's not even that hard to do. It's really, really easy. It just takes time.
And that's probably the best path, right? Like, start with something, we're going to use the microphone, keep using the example, but let's say you find a microphone that has a different feature that nobody has on Amazon yet. So you'll want to get a hold of the manufacturer, get that made, but make sure your name's on it, but make sure you have a trademark prior on that name, because you want to protect that. And you're not going to protect it 100%, but you'll at least protect your listing.
Well, the first thing you want to do is when you open an Amazon account is make sure you get a trademark.
There you go.
And so, and obviously you get one in the US, but get it in Germany, because Germany, believe it or not, has, it was 30 days, I think now it's 45, for acceptance for brand registry on Amazon, because ultimately you want to have brand registry on Amazon in order to protect your account. And that also leads you to transparency. And transparency, anybody use transparency here? One person,
Why don't you explain
2 people?
it?
Transparency is an amazing tool from Amazon that allows you to stop counterfeiters and called hijackers and different things to take down your product. And so they basically charge you 5 cents for this sticker, or you ultimately put it on your sort of code really, and it allows you to put this on your box, and you ship it into Amazon, and then once Amazon reads that barcode, they realize this is from the brand owner, and so nobody else can jump on this listing unless they have that transparency code. It's called a T code, and if you are selling on Amazon now, you absolutely have to be using transparency. It's not great if you're using it for if you're selling on eBay, if you're selling in Walmart, in store. It's great if you're really just selling on Amazon. It's going to stop a lot of hijackers and stop everything actually. But
maybe let's also talk about ASINs. Making sure you have, barcodes, ASINs. Let's kind of just go through the whole process for everybody on what they're going to need before, they start listing.
Sure, yeah. So you need a product, but yeah, I think you need a UPC. I just go to like Snap UPC, or there's tons of UPC sites out there, or and that's something for quick and dirty. If you want to really do it the right way, you get a GS1 code, and that's super important. Also important for brand registry, because Amazon's actually forcing sellers to only use GS1,
Yep.
and they may have already started doing that. And then for barcodes, you can stick it on your product, but you actually don't need a barcode on your product, because Amazon will just slap theirs on it anyways. And most of my products don't even have barcodes on it, but you can have your product scanned in with a barcode if you wanted to. What else do you need? You need trademark GS1.
Yep. What about, let's step a little bit through. They found their product. They're dealing with the factory right now. What can they expect as far as how much they need to give the factory? What kind of time frame it's going to take to get that product made?
What do you guys think it's people already selling on Amazon? How much do you usually give your factory? 30%. Anybody else?
Anybody? So the answer was 30% out there.
How are you paying your factory now?
Oops.
You're paying your...
So Alibaba or plastic? Okay.
So you're paying through Alibaba, and you're probably paying 3%, right?
Yeah, but plastic's better.
Why is plastic better?
Because it's 2.5%, and if you use like a Bank of America, if you're Bank of America Platinum Honors customer, you get 2.625% back. So 2.625 is bigger than 2.5, and that part's tax deductible.
Repeat the question so that way everybody who's watching the video will know what he asked, or in general.
The question was, how much do you pay your suppliers? And he said 30% down payment. And how do you pay your suppliers? And so he said he originally paid 3% through Alibaba, and now he pays, he's using plastic, or he's going to use plastic, because plastic's 2.5%, and his rewards card actually gives him 2.65% using plastic. And so he's actually making money by sending money to his manufacturer in China using plastic. Yep. And we did not plant him in here. It's not I'm just kidding.
Yes, we did. That's okay. It was actually on my question list anyways.
Yeah, we didn't pay him. So that's super cool. That's great.
But
that's exactly
I mean, in general, a lot of the time it's 80-20 rule, right? That's what I've always heard.
It can be 80-20, but usually when you first start, it's 30%. And then you work out deals over time where you can kind of be lenient about that. over time and pay them less. But
Now, if some of the factories, if it's a pretty large MOQ, if some of the factories are asking for a larger percent, like 100% up front, you might want to be a little leery. Wouldn't you think so? I mean, I would be, because that's usually not the way the norm is over there.
yeah,
in China.
so those are called CJs,
Yeah.
which are con jobs, and so just obviously stay away from those.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah.
So why don't you elaborate again? Let's go over how you specifically make money paying for inventory.
Sure. Yeah.
Using plastic.
Kind of bouncing off what
Yeah.
he said. I started using plastic, I think 8 months ago. Heard about it from maybe a friend. I don't remember exactly. And so I love credit card points. I'm obsessed with them. And so the idea of paying manufacturers through a credit card, which then turns into a wire, and it's not like they know the difference, and allows me to make money off credit card points, exactly what he's doing, depending on the credit card that you have or how you transfer the points. It allows me to make money by literally paying my manufacturers, which is super cool. And I love that. And so if you think about it, I've paid plastic way over 7 figures in the last year, less than a year. And so it adds up to not only more than the percentage you pay plastic, but a lot of providers like Chase will give you 20% more when you use it for travel. And so you're completely in the green when you're paying your suppliers. And so it's great for people just starting out, because if you're just the way that suppliers give you invoices when you first start out, I don't know if you guys, if you've experienced this, I experience it every time, and I absolutely hate it. They make it so difficult to figure out how to pay them. It's the worst possible thing to figure out what city they are in, and then what province, and then what zip code, and the number, and it's awful. It's so awful. And so it's super easy. And this is not like a pitch for plastic. It's super easy to use plastic because they just kind of do it for you, and it's done. It's super convenient. And so
Yeah. What about having to play the credit card? I mean, you got a time frame there. So
Yeah.
I mean, most of the process of getting stuff from a factory could be, landed within 30 days. So explain that.
Benefit. So this is kind of complicated, but it's if you really get it, it's really amazing. And so another
the
benefit.
good part is it's a video, so they can go back and watch this several times. So
Great.
explain it.
Sorry for watching me several times. What's really cool is that when you pay your credit card statement, or you pay for something via plastic, let's say you pay $1,000, and then you pay it on, what are we, November, we'll say November 1st, and your credit card will give you 30 days to pay it, right, for your statement. But then you're billed 30 days. It takes you 30 days to, you really get 60 days. Sorry, I'm really explaining this terribly. You pay $1,000 via plastic, and then that's when you get 30 days to really that statement
Yep.
rolls over. But then you get 30 days to pay that $1,000. I think I'm explaining it somewhat correctly.
That's about right.
And so you really get 60 days to pay that first order for your inventory. So if cash flow is an issue, you're getting 60 days essentially to make that money back or pay that off that credit card before interest sets in. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Sorry if that was confusing.
So the reality is that if you get those products within 30 days, you have another 30 days before you owe it.
Right.
You could start selling already and have potentially some of the money, or if not all of the money you spent, coming back plus some profits already.
Right. That's, hopefully.
Yeah. And plus you're getting the points on the card. And,
Right.
So let's talk about that a little bit. After you place an order, help me with the process. So you place an order, and do you go out and now you make the title, you start getting the images ready, or, let's say it's a new product.
Yeah.
At what point are you making the title, the description, and all that stuff on Amazon?
We make it through.
Oh.
We make it through.
I think we lost for a second.
It's okay.
Check.
Hello.
Can you hear us in the back? Okay, go ahead.
Cool. We make everything sort of, we have a whole org chart and whole process for making every product. And so you definitely want to have your images there before you start manufacturing the product or doing whatever you're doing with the product, because otherwise, it's going to come back to you in a way that was different from your main image of your product. But it really starts with, your image, and then from there you're doing a lot of keyword research. You're looking at different titles, you're looking at the different keywords in the back end, you're looking at different reports. If you're brand registered, or if you know somebody that's brand registered, you can go into their brand registry account, type in the ASIN of your competitor, and see all the keywords they're ranking for, export that report, and just fill it in your back end keywords, and fill it in your title, and doing different things. It's important to know that if you, let's say, are doing a supplement though, and you put in weight loss in your title, Amazon allows that, but they won't allow you to run PPC ads. And so these little things here and there are super important to really realize. But yeah, you need your images first, and then comes the product. Even shipping the inventory to Amazon the first time is just a big pain in the ass. They make it really difficult. But yeah, I mean, in brand registry, immediately get that trademark, get the T codes if you can before you even ship in the product. That's what I would do. But
yeah, and I'm going to jump in there on that too. So I would also recommend getting some samples ahead of time so you can get product photos made and created of the actual product that's coming in. Make sure it's got your name on it, or if you have to, you can Photoshop it. And then I would take those images, run them through PickFu with some A/B or ABC testing to see which images do well. Make sure that you have the first image has to be a white background, it has to be the image only. Second one can have wording pointing out different features of the product.
By the way, it doesn't have to be a white background. It should be a white background, but a lot of people don't do that, and they kind of just get their conversions in early until Amazon says you have to change the image. So something to think about.
Sure.
But
that's where PickFu can come in just to see which image is the right one, get it going, and that's what I would do, and then work on your titles and descriptions. But we always, when I was doing Amazon, we always like to get some of the product in ahead of time so we could get some product photos done before it showed up, and then we already had the listing ready and everything's ready to go.
Yeah, and then even more importantly for product photos, we've found, or everybody that I know, is graphics, like a photoshopped photo works much better than actual real images of the photo, and so it's important to note too. Yeah. Having a good graphic designer is super, super crucial.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
That first image can sell that product immediately. So yeah, what about, so we did touch a little bit on, but keyword research.
Sure.
How about some tips on that?
I think the best way you could do it, if you don't have access to brand registry, then you can use a product like Helium 10, use Google Trends, where you can just put in an ASIN in Helium 10, let's say, and just get the reverse keywords for those, and just kind of fill it into the top keywords that are most important to you. And the title, the first 4 or 5 words in the title are most important. Sometimes Amazon will force you to have your brand in the title in the first word, not all the time. And so that's super important. Description, very important. Something to note with A+ content, it's not actually indexed. So you lose compared to having a product description, which is indexed. A+ content's not indexed. I don't know why, but I know it's not 100% at all indexed. But it's supposed to lift your conversions by 5%. That's what my SaaS manager says. And yeah, that's what I mean, for keywords is so straightforward. You need to really understand your buyer and understand where the competitors in the market are, what keywords are they converting for most often, but also the long tail keywords, best mic,
Bluetooth, silver,
whatever the longest keywords you can find. Even they have like 50 searches a month, capture 10% of those searches.
Absolutely.
And so just an idea.
Yeah, and then you take those keywords, and that's when you start working on your PPC, correct?
Same thing. You go. I mean, PPC has gotten so advanced lately. It's phenomenal. And so they've actually given you access to DSP. So Amazon has a demand-side platform that allows you to really have some really cool attribution models when using their DSP platform for advertising and retargeting buyers off of Amazon, pulling them back to your listing. They've done a great job, which they've sucked at for a long time. And so recently, in the last month or two, they've come out with it, or 3 months ago. And so PPC is huge because it allows you to really rank, I think, in the best way possible when you launch your products. There's always this talk about like a honeymoon period. You have 14 days. I don't really know if I've really found that to be true, because you can always rank older products with enough PPC and reviews on it. But PPC is huge. There's so many agencies out there. I have a lot of friends that do PPC. Happy to recommend them to you. But starting off, you start off with $10 or $50 a day, do an auto campaign, see the search terms that you converted for, what was your conversion rate, what was your session percentage, and then running those reports, and then doing manual campaigns, targeting those, figuring out if you want them above the fold, which is the top of the search, or below the fold, and depending on where you convert more. And so it's always really about testing. I would recommend doing it yourself first and not outsourcing it, because you need to really learn this. If you're really interested in starting at Amazon, you really need to learn this. Do not buy a course. Do not spend thousands of dollars buying a course. You all are fully capable of reading reports. And so it's super important that I say that, because I've done this before. I bought the courses and none of it's helped. YouTube's helped more than anything else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or watch the video that we're doing right now. So
Yeah.
But what about like launch strategy? Any suggestions on,
Launching
getting
is
accelerated?
super hard right now. Super, super hard, especially in the period that we're in, and like right after Singles Day too, and especially going into Black Friday and Cyber Monday weeks. Launching is so hard right now, and so it's a great time if you can really get it in. Otherwise, try it for January. But really, the best way is go for PPC, go for the long tail keywords, get the Amazon Choice Badge, and try and just get to the top 1, 2, or 3 listings by bidding competitively on those long tail keywords for PPC. I've just launched a few products last week, and that's worked the most. But you definitely are having to invest more money in launching, and different giveaways, whether you're using Rebate Key or different tools like that to give products away to different things like that to help rank. It's
Viral launch, they're good.
viral launch,
Yeah.
but you have to invest more money for launching these days. So you have to really be careful of your product costs, and you absolutely have to know your numbers. The biggest thing with Amazon sellers, a lot of them don't know their numbers. And so it's really, really important. I use a software called Bench, which is an automated bookkeeping service. And so they help me a lot do that.
Nice.
But you really need to know every single line item on your launch process, how much you're going to spend on your PPC, what your landed cost, what's your net. And there's literally like 15 items that I go through in order to launch successfully. Yeah.
That's good. Bench, I've never heard of that one, but I'll take a look for sure. And then I'm going to mention in there too that, let's talk about a little bit about TOS. TOS right now, terms of service for Amazon, is changing probably almost weekly right at the moment.
Daily.
So as part of your business, you need to be aware, what is Amazon changing? What are they changing? Because if you're doing something today, it may not be necessarily appropriate to do it next week. So part of being involved in your business is also keeping an eye on what is Amazon doing? What are they changing? So, and it's more of a statement, I guess I'm making. I'm not necessarily asking a question, because it's a big thing. Even when this video comes out in like a week or two, it's still going to probably be a big thing. So it's really important to be in Facebook groups. Be careful of the amount that you're in. Just stick to the top ones, and make sure you look at your emails from Amazon and you're up to date on TOS. Because like last week, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where they sent out an email saying you're not allowed to send any email follow-ups. And then a day later, they're like, you are allowed. And so everyone was really nervous and how it was going to impact them, and it was really nerve-wracking. And FeedbackWhiz, I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah. And so we were all over it. So
they kind of clued me in, and that's why people use FeedbackWhiz when you're launching, because you can put in your attach your ASIN to the FeedbackWhiz account and put it in, and then you can customize emails like for reviews, which they still allow you to ask for reviews in an honest way, and you can send out a sequence of emails asking for reviews when they maybe 5 days after the product has landed at the doorstep. You can use Feedback's templates to say, hey, so and so. The whole thing is templated out, so you don't even have to write anything. And I suck at writing emails, so
we take care of it for you.
Yeah, and so you can also split test too. So if you send an email at 9 a.m., 20% open rate, 1 p.m., 50% open rate on a Tuesday afternoon. You kind of just want to send emails during those times, but that's what these guys do.
Yeah, a lot of split testing is also testing your titles. You split test your titles. Our templates are TOS compliant. We're always on top of it. Our Facebook group, anytime something changes, we are watching Amazon every day to see what changes on their TOS to make sure that our software is right on point, and it's
sign up for their newsletter.
There you go. Sign up for our newsletter or stay on our Facebook group. Either way. So so how, since we're on it, and not to keep on FeedbackWhiz because I work there, but how important are getting feedback, product reviews? How important are they? How does it help?
Well, Amazon changed a lot. They changed reviews to ratings, and they have reviews still on the listing. Obviously, reviews is important. Everyone knows that. And so that's why it's super important to use a service that can help you get reviews, like FeedbackWhiz. And Amazon also has their new button they have in there. If you go to the orders of any of your orders, you can see it says request review on it. And so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. I kind of have a feeling they might get rid of buyer-seller messaging. I'm not really sure. I highly doubt it, but I think that's one of the reasons why the button is there, because a lot of sellers are requesting reviews from other Amazon sellers, from their buyers on Amazon. And so that's, sort of two ways using FeedbackWhiz to send the follow-up emails, but not only follow-up emails for the reviews, but also for instructions on how to use their product and different things to keep them interested as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to back up just a smidge because I want to make sure that we get OFX in here. So during the payment process, there's a way that you can basically set it up that they're getting paid in their own currency. I'm not sure why that's making all that noise back there, but you can make sure that your suppliers are getting paid in their own currency. And a lot of times suppliers, when they come to you and they say, hey, we need our payment during the payment process, and you're like, okay, we'll pay you in US dollars, but they got to convert it. There's usually a discrepancy in there, and it's because they're trying to cover themselves on that conversion. Now, OFX will set it up so you have an account that's already in that currency, and it will allow you to pay them directly in their currency. So a lot of times some of the suppliers will actually, it's not really giving you a discount. You automatically get a discount because you're paying them in their own currency instead of having convert it from US dollars over to CNY, basically. So
and they charge 1%.
Yeah, there you go.
Because when you're selling in the UK, and it's so easy to literally, all you do is you click one button in your Seller Central account, and you can sell all over Amazon in the UK and in Germany and many other sites. They just launched in Singapore, so you have an open market there. And supplements are really hard to get in Singapore, so that could be something you might be interested in. But the idea is that Amazon charges you 3% to transfer from Amazon's, whatever, your UK Amazon account to your US bank account, right? And so I think OFX charges like 1%, so you save 2% in your business.
Yep, absolutely. So another way to save more money, getting your money back. So since we're going into holiday season, and we'll have this video out before the holiday season, what about some tips for everyone that's going to either start selling or is currently selling? They've got hopefully they're already got their product in with this holiday season coming up.
Raise prices.
Raise prices. There you go.
Now, everyone thinks to lower prices, but really, all you need to do is...
How often do you hear that? I don't ever hear. Everybody wants to fight to the bottom, so why raise prices?
Everyone thinks, your mindset, if you think about it, Black Friday, you're like, oh, I'm going to get the deal on this, whatever, mic clip. It's a terrible example. And really, you're going there to shop and get a deal. So why not instead make your price, let's say at your cost, it's Amazon $15, make it $25 and put a coupon on for 20% so it's green. And then this way, it has more color on your listing when people are scrolling through the page, and they see a higher priced product that they already think is discount. So in their mind, they're thinking, oh, wow, maybe this is a better quality product. And it's got 20% off. Holy shit, I like this better than the other person, potentially. It's one option. And so a lot of people I know raise prices and put the coupons on, do discounts for Prime members. There's a whole bunch of deals you can do in Amazon. But yeah, that's what you should do, for sure.
So if you've got your PPC in place, you got the good titles, you got product reviews, you're already going to come up there at the top. So there's no reason, a small amount difference, you should be getting that business. That's what we're basically saying, right?
Maybe. Yeah, it's possible. It's just, in this time of year, people are really spending a lot on PPC. They're really upping their bids, and they're spending a ton. And so you may not be at the top, or it may affect ranking somehow. It just depends on your product and category. But yeah, I think raising prices and putting a coupon on is great. But not only does raising prices also help you in that way, if you run lightning deals, which are amazing, or 7-day deals, which are amazing deals to help you with your velocity. So what happens is if you run a 7-day deal or a lightning deal, they're going to decrease your price by 20%. And then you actually keep getting decreased by little percentage points for each deal you run, which is really terrible for your margins. And so what you do by raising your price is you reset that lightning deal. I think if it's 30 days, you keep your price there. So let's say all of December, then it resets your lightning deal price to the normal price, or maybe even higher than it was before because you had your price raised. I didn't even think about that until now. That's cool.
That's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And then what about, any other tips or strategies once you get your product in? Oh, I know I was going to ask you, actually. How about an example of a product you got in that didn't do so well? We always talk about all these people that make a lot of money and they bring all these products in. Everybody's got a failure product.
I have a lot of failure products.
Give us specifics. What happened?
No, I think I did everything terribly. I started really extra confident because of success I've had previously with other products I launched. This was a more expensive product, and I didn't have my numbers right. And I completely underestimated how much this was going to cost me for different ways of driving traffic to the listing. And it was a really expensive product that's really competitive, and it required way too much capital, and I made this mistake twice, and I just couldn't get it ranked, and it was super expensive, and I totally failed because I didn't know my numbers. And I, like on Shark Tank, they always say, know your numbers, know your numbers. And so it's like nothing more important than knowing every single tiny little bit of cost that goes into your numbers, because that has messed me up so many times. And so that's like the biggest feedback I can give you. I didn't do anything too crazy with the launch. Everything is pretty straightforward when you're launching with the PPC and everything. But I just completely underestimated how much this was going to cost. And so it wasn't good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the question. So the question was, how do you quantify the numbers, or how do you know your number? Like, what are the numbers, right? In a way, right? So there's your product cost from the manufacturer. You have your trademark cost. You have potential copyright costs. You have your legal fees. You have your transparency fees. You have your Amazon selling fees, which are 2 fees: referral fees, long-term storage fees, and you have pick and pack fees. You have your PPC fees. You have, which are estimates. You have maybe rebate fees. You have there's so many more. There's so many fees.
You know what? We're going to wrap up and go to Q&A in about 1 second. So why don't you first of all just thank you, Jared, first of all, for coming out. We really appreciate it. Anybody who's watching, please, big round of applause for Jared. Let's also just throw out there, you got a meetup group down in Los Angeles. So anybody who's watching this that's down in the LA area, look you up on meetup.com, and the New York one too.
AMZInnovate.com. It's a great conference.
AMZinnovate.com. So so thank you so much. And we're gonna turn over the mic to out in the audience. You guys are welcome to ask questions.
Thanks for all that information. Can you talk a little bit about some of your daily habits that move your needle?
Yeah. My team. No, I think she said get up early, but I think the biggest thing that I've found to help move the needle is your team. So I've started using a website called onlinejobs.ph, which is a service that finds people to help you with your Amazon business really inexpensively. And it's important that you put them through a lot of tests and qualifications before you end up hiring them. And these people can help you with your daily tasks. So someone recently told me, a really good friend of mine recently told me, it's really great to work on your business and not in it. And so it's important to know all the tasks that you have to do, whether it's checking your listing. Did somebody hijack your listing? Is the images good? Is the conversion rate good for today? Like every single day, be checking your numbers in in an Excel sheet or whatever, Google sheet, and seeing how your numbers differ from every day. What's going on, and you can train people to do these certain things. This chair is terrible. That's what my no, it's okay. Thank you. That's what I would recommend. Does that answer your question?
So the question I had is, as far as running the metrics, are there any APIs that you're using or for the process, or using any artificial intelligence or machine learning for that?
So I personally don't have any developed. I have friends that I use their products where they can, let's say, put your ASIN in and they can capture all your reviews. It's a really cool tool. It's bagels.io. It's a friend of mine, Keith, and he has some really cool free tools that you can use to help with your Amazon program, with your products, and he uses the API to pull in a bunch of things that are super, super helpful. But I don't use any machine learning now. I have friends that do, and they try to predict which products are next and what's next in the market. But in reality, honestly, it's just Google Trends have been super helpful.
What are you doing for inserts? Are you just simply asking for an honest review, or do you have any kind of QR codes, free giveaways, warranties, any of those tricks?
So,
or do you want to talk about it?
I can totally talk about it because I think I'm one of the few people who actually don't use inserts, and I don't really have any inserts in my products because I'm honestly too scared to do that. And I know some of the biggest brands are doing it, and so many Amazon sellers are doing it, and it's great that they're doing it. And it's just going to come down to one day. Like, I'll give you an example. It was last week or 2 weeks ago. They said you cannot have any inserts in your products, right? And so I'm thinking, great, I'm not affected by this, but every single other person is, and I really feel bad for them. But that's so scary to think that you have to recall all your products because you have an insert in them. But I don't know how Amazon would even handle that. But I don't have any inserts, but I know everyone uses QR codes to send reviews or to send people to their site to try and get reviews or different things. And you really need to be careful with reviews. Amazon is suspending people left and right literally every day for some people toying with reviews. So you need to be super careful and just do it honestly.
Hi, my name is Coco, and I wanted to ask you about warehousing and how
Yeah.
expensive that is.
Great question.
I'm doing a beverage product, so it might take a bit more space, might stay there for a longer time. How much would that cost?
I love warehousing questions because I've recently gotten heavily into this. So I use a company called, the main company I use is called Warehouse Republic. And he's an amazing guy. And they have 2 warehouses closer to LA than SF. But in terms of beverages that need to stay cold, or no? Okay, room temperature.
Yeah.
Then it's all depending on, there's so many restrictions. But I think that's more, like we can probably talk, this is like a really long answer, but it really depends. It depends on so many things with that product. Are you currently in Amazon now or with the no? So yeah, I mean, you need to have part of your inventory in a warehouse, like a Warehouse Republic type of place, and in Amazon. But there's so many. You need to really understand the different terms that Amazon uses, whether it's like a meltable product, and that sounds crazy to think about, or just different terms that they use, and how long they'll keep it in there for. Like, you have to really do your research on something like that, because it's much harder than like a supplement.
The other question was about if you would put a product out there and it isn't well received, and you're bringing out a similar product after with the same brand name, but let's say it's kind of an adaptation of the first product, how...
Is it an adaptation to make it better because it didn't succeed the first time?
I guess so. I don't know how Amazon works, but it's kind of like in Airbnb, right? You can't, once you have a bad review, it's on there forever.
Okay, so you're creating a new product because you have bad reviews?
That would be a question. Like you're making, maybe you redo the formula and you're putting out a new product. What's the Amazon restriction on that?
As long as you can't sell the same products, right? But as long as it's a different, you can even call it a different year. I know a lot of people that have a 2019 version of their product and they change it a little bit. As long as it's not the exact same product, you can totally sell it. And if I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. I think because I just went over this with someone else, but I'm pretty sure as long as it's not the same product, you can 100% sell it. But that's why reviews are so important. And yeah, you definitely want to focus on reviews from people who have bought your product multiple times, because you know that they like your product, and whether it's using FeedbackWhiz or that request review button inside Amazon. Yep. But that's really hard. That's really, really hard, and it's expensive too. So, because if you lose your first product off of negative reviews, even if you only had like 20 reviews, you get one negative review, you're instantly going to like 4.5, and that sucks, and it's so hard, right? And so that's why you need to really create a great product.
What's the expense there?
The expense there is that you just lost 20% of sales by going from 4.8 to a 4.5, or 4.5 to a 4.2, which is really 4.0. And so when you're losing like at least 20% of sales more once you get to 4 stars. So that's huge. It's huge. I want to mention one more thing. It's like kind of important, super important, that I was thinking about earlier today, is that Amazon is a really great platform, but there's always going to be another Amazon. And so it's something you need to really, really think about, because there's so many things going on with Amazon and how many products there are on the page, right? And so everything almost looks alike now. So it's really hard to differentiate yourself. So something you need to really think about are what's like next, right? So there's an amazing social media platform, I'm sure you all know by now, is TikTok. And TikTok's a really cool tool, right? And so in my head, I'm thinking, what's the next Amazon? How can I get my product on the next Amazon? Is it advertising on TikTok, or is it thinking about what's the next Amazon, and how is a company like TikTok gonna be that market? So in my head, I'm thinking TikTok's like creating your own social marketplace for these people to, in a way, sell your product on this new social platform. So it's going to be like a social marketplace, I think. Maybe not, but you have to always be thinking Amazon is an amazing platform to sell your product, right? But this company like TikTok could be even, you could have even more sales by having an influencer do it. And right now I can tell you YouTube is by far one of the best ways to push people either to your Amazon store or just selling your product, because YouTube influencers are extremely, extremely not only expensive, but they're really profitable for your products right now. And then if anybody has products right now they think would be great for QVC, I have great contacts at QVC. They can talk to you and see if your product's great for QVC, if you need more sales. But just always be thinking about not having 100% of your inventory on Amazon and just differentiating elsewhere. That's so, so important.
So you mentioned earlier about selling in the UK, etc. My question was, would you recommend that to someone starting out? If not, kind of like at what point would you recommend someone trying that, and how would you approach it?
There's more restrictions definitely in the UK, depending on how you look at it. Depends on your product. If it's a supplement, you need to completely relabel your supplements. If it's like it just totally depends on your product. I don't see why, in a way it can hurt you besides losing inventory. But there's really nothing wrong with just sending the product through, and Amazon will do it for you pretty much. But you do need a VAT number if you get over a certain amount in sales. But if you're just testing it out, then you may sell more in the UK than you will in the US, depending on your keywords. Or you may sell a lot less. I know a lot of people where 10% of their sales are the UK.
One question, my name is Umesh. So one question on using Google Trends. Is there a minimum search volume you look at when you're doing product research?
I like to compare it against products that are trending now. I don't have a number for you, but then also you can take a look at those keywords against Helium-10 or another keyword research tool and kind of see where those are and how many people are buying those products per month. But really, if you find a friend who has brand registry, so you can see the keywords that are converting from, how many sessions they have and different things like that. That's really helpful, but I hope that answers your question.
Is being on Amazon Prime still worth the extra work
Compared to what?
to not being on Amazon Prime?
Is there something else you're thinking of, like Walmart or just in general?
No, I mean just having that delivery availability.
Do you mean like seller fulfilled Prime or so SFP?
Yeah.
Well, actually, SFP you can get a lot cheaper rates than FBA, and a lot of my friends use SFP who have larger products, and so they can get much cheaper rates than what Amazon's going to sell. So if you have, I think SFP is really the way to go, but you can still get the Amazon badge as long as your metrics are there. But usually I always start with FBA, and then you can move to SFP depending on your product. But if it's something that's small and light, it's easy, but it just depends. It's a great question. SFP is seller fulfilled Prime. It's when you ship the products yourself via your own shipping methods, and you have your own cost and your own prices. Today, Amazon sent out an email saying that that UPS even has cheaper rate. UPS has cheaper rates than what they were originally quoting, and so they're constantly like getting you to go to FBA. But it's crazy.
Okay, so I heard you say that you outsource your PPC right now, but back when you used to do your own PPC, like how many campaigns do you run per product for like your maintenance? Like let's say your product's on first page already. What is like your maintenance? Does it depend on each product? Like
depends on each product. How many keywords you have? Are you running campaigns for that specific keyword? Are you are you doing a video ad right now? Because they just launched a video ad for everyone. You can do in search, and so there's like 8 or 9 different campaigns you can do, and it's just I don't have the bandwidth to do that, but I would start with an automatic campaign and manual campaigns for your long tail, put in some negative keywords in there, and just throw 10, 20, 30 bucks a day and just see what happens. What's your conversion rate? Export everything to Excel and work the numbers yourself, and kind of just slowly get your ACoS down to less than obviously less than 100%, but 20, 30, 40, 50%. It's going to be so high right now with end of Q4. But
are you looking to sell any of your brands, and if so, do you know any sites that you use, like Empire Flipper or anything like that?
Yeah, so I've heard great things about everybody. I have not heard a single bad thing about the three main guys. One guy I know who was a speaker at our conference was Scott Dietz. If you Google him, he has some amazing information on selling your business, on things that you can do now just starting the business that'll help you create a greater multiple for your business in the long run. Like he always says, like, everything you buy for your business or every software that you buy, it will decrease your multiple because you're paying $200 or $500 a year for this, and you're spending this much money, even though you can expense it. He's the whole formula. It's the coolest thing. But you got to Google Scott Dietz, and he's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think they're looking at like 2 multiples right now, based on profit or depending on your business model. But
I'm going to also throw out there Ken from Thrasio.
Oh yeah,
did
them
a
too.
podcast with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Check the FeedbackWhiz podcast.
Definitely Thrasio.
Yeah, hi. Just can you talk a little bit about your business systems when you go from 7 figures to 8 figures, and are you guys leveraging 3PL and other channels? I heard a little bit about I don't know if Shopify or ClickFunnels and some of those other areas.
I started on ClickFunnels and I stopped using ClickFunnels. I use Shopify and WooCommerce. Both are amazing platforms. I think there's so many things you can do to scale, and I think you really have to be creative about it. Give you an example. Shopify has a really cool app that I can't think of the name of that allows you to see the influencers on social media that have bought your product, right? So it runs a report, shows you how many followers they have. Then you reach out to that influencer and you partner with them as a brand partner, get them to blast out your product and give them free products. Brings in more sales for your store. You do that for every one of your influencers. To be creative about it. Then that's an amazing way to drive traffic, like whether it is to your Shopify or give them a coupon for Amazon so they focus only on Amazon. Then you track those sales via the coupon. You can see and you can pay them an affiliate commission. Like that's just one small method that you can do if you have a really good team that can help you manage that. It all goes back to your team. And so it's like, the first question I would ask you is like, going back to that question is, do you have an org chart for your company? Right? Even if you have 2 people in your company, you have an org chart. And so constantly building out that org chart is so important to I think, scaling the business. But it's like the first step you have to do. And then Shopify is an amazing, amazing platform. But again, maybe you do own the store depending on how you set up Shopify or you go through their themes. But I like WooCommerce and Shopify for different reasons. And I use Stripe for payment processor. But yeah, I think there's nothing more important than building out your team and delegating the right tasks and being in the right groups, being in the right masterminds. There's nothing more important than that, and going to the right conferences, and it's so important. And networking there's no greater thing you can possibly do to scale your business than help network, because sharing different things that somebody doesn't know, like, it can help you exponentially. No, I don't offer any coaching. It's not why I'm here. I'm here I run a meetup also in LA, and my friend runs one in New York, and we run this conference, and we always get asked, why do you do it? Why do you do it? Why do you do it? And we do it because, and I'm here because it's so cool to meet with other sellers or other really cool companies, like all these companies here, and I use these guys, and it's cool to also put a face to a name, but it's great to meet other sellers that are maybe other 7, 8, or 9-figure sellers, or maybe different engineers in the room that have some cool little spin on something, and what can you learn from someone else? How are they doing their business model? What type of setup for their corporation? How are they doing their taxes? Like understanding how people are selling a little bit differently than you can open your mind up to what's potentially could work for you, or maybe help them in a way, or maybe even partner up with them. Like that's something that I've done. I ended up partnering with somebody for one of my products, and completely out of the blue, and we complement each other. And so it's nothing more important than networking. I don't do any coaching, and I don't. There's only like one guy I think that's the most honest guy and honest coach, and his name's Brandon, and he has Brandon Young, and so he's an amazing guy with what he teaches, only because I only say this because he actually shares his numbers. Nobody shares their numbers, and if they share their numbers, it's usually fake, and it's crazy how often that happens. And so he actually shares like his Excel spreadsheets and his numbers and how he does it, and so I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree with you 100%. And I'm going to mention Tamara Teet. She's also really good. As far as trade shows, Prosper, if you want to go to an Amazon only show. Thanks everybody for coming out. Big round of applause for Jared. Yeah. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for more information, please visit feedbackwhiz.com.